The new you has been our theme throughout the season after Epiphany. And we've heard how to become anew, that is, renewed, spiritually, financially, emotionally, relationally, through Jesus' teachings of love and care for others as well as for ourselves. Today our focus is on Jesus' teaching, which he shares in the Sermon on the Mount, focusing on salt and light. You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. If we passively reflect on these statements, we might just say that, well, these are nice thoughts. They're good things. And if we are to hear these words as a person living in Jesus' era, we might realize what he is saying is truly complimentary, as he lifts up those who are listening to have a special purpose. You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. We must think about these two statements separately to truly gain insight as to what he meant. Why would he want to be called salt? We just think, oh, that's just something that we use. But if we reflect on the use of salt in history and the role it played during Bible times, salt was truly a valuable resource. It was the only means of preserving food, and so necessary was it to the running of the household. It was a commodity of trade. Where people acquired this life-sustaining substance, they would be merchants who would have to have it made available for human consumption, and only the rich could actually afford it. One having salt in their home would have wealth and power because it was so valued. Salt was very important then, somewhat when we think more than what we realize today. But salt has had an amazing history as it has led to the discovery and creation of major cities, canal systems, trade partners, and the use in our own English language. Think of the words celery, salad, soldier, sold, all coming from the root word called salt and its trades. Communities in England ending in W-I-C-H indicated a salt mine was located there, and with it trade was possible for goods being brought to the area. These communities were places of wealth, and trade with Liverpool, England became a trading city with salt as both the currency and the commodity. North American settlers used salt wherever they could find it, as they walked and followed the animals that they hunted. For they knew that if animals were walking to find salt, they would find it as well. It's necessary for life. Because when you think about using salt, it's very important. If you have some kind of a sore spot in your mouth, you just take a little bit of salt and warm water, and it feels so much better after that. Salt was the basis for even battles and war. During the American Civil War, October 2nd, 1864, one of the worst battles fought took place. 2,800 Confederate soldiers squared off against 4,500 Union soldiers. After one day of intense fighting, shots continued through the night and muffled the sounds of crying and dying soldiers. The purpose of the battle was not strategic positioning. It was a great offensive, but it was because they needed salt. It was salt. The mineral fought over was salt near Saltville, Virginia. It was the largest supplier of salt to the Confederate Army because the need for salt to preserve food enabled the Army with the best food coming from and avoiding starvation. And so for general health, the battle proved to pave the way for a Northern victory. Salt is essential for life. So we know that when we enter into hospital today, one of the first things attached is a saline solution, IV, to help rehydrate the person. Everybody needs salt in moderation. Salt is a necessary part of our diet, but we have to watch how much we consume. Jesus said, "You are the salt of the earth." He knew that salt was essential to life, but it was difficult and expensive to obtain it. Salt was a means of killing germs and preventing sickness. And you got to think, at the time and where Jesus lived, it was very, very hot. And everyone who worked in manual labor, they sweated a lot and much salt was lost from the body. and so it's essential to replace it. So saying that the people were like salt, he was saying that they were a valuable necessity for preserving and enhancing a healthy, wholesome, abundant human life. But that's not where Jesus stopped. He continued on. He said, "You are the light of the world." And he gives an example of the purpose of light. When you light a lamp, you don't put it under something. You put it on top of something to bring out the light into the whole home, or at least the one room. A city is found on top of a hill, and you can see it because it is so much higher than everything else. But if there are no lights, all is dark. Light is all around us, no matter what happens. It's an automatic response when you walk into a dark room to flip the switch. If you're driving at night, you have to have your lights on. And as you can see down the roads, and particularly if you drive down the 401 today, or in the evening particularly, you can see where all the communities are. You can see houses because of the lights that are out there. But it's one of the things is we also have to be concerned is if there's too much light. And what do we call that? Light pollution. Where you can't see the stars above you. This is something fairly new out in the county right now because of the greenhouses. There's more and more greenhouses glowing all night long. Jesus said, "You are the light of the world." And in John 8:12, Jesus again speaking, he says, "I am the light of the world." You and I and Jesus are the light in the world. In the teaching from the mountainside, Jesus is lifting up the people in order that they would understand who they are and who they might become through him. Let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. He's encouraging his many listeners, because it is through his teachings they have become his followers, and by this reflect his light, his teachings of life and love wherever they go. We must remember that when Jesus was preaching from the mountainsides, it was very early in his ministry. He was striving to have them hear his words. So he's encouraging them to have a new hope, to listen to him. For they weren't really sure who he was yet. They were thinking beyond themselves. And they were thinking and reflecting and praying that this person before them could be the one God had promised. With Jesus telling them, "You are the light of the world," they have been given a purpose. They're to be like Christ wherever they go. So when Jesus said, "I am the light of the world," we have to think about what happened. In the book of John, he has just dismissed a woman who was caught in adultery, and the crowd which had gathered to see what was happening to her. She'd been sent away and told not to sin again, as no one dared to accuse her because they too had sinned. What might be called the darkness of sin was over all of them. But Jesus says, "I am the light." There is no light beside Christ. He is the source of light and life. He's the one through whom all have hope, and with him it's light or dark, it's life or death. And what are we supposed to do? Choose with whom and where you will walk. Thinking about our light sources. Before electricity, people depended upon gas lamps, kerosene lanterns, and candles. The lamp that Jesus referred to as being would have been an oil lamp. And for those who were poor, these lamps would only be lit for a very short time. The people would depend on the sun's light for their daytime activities, and when the sun went down, it would be time for sleep. Yet with the coming of lights from different sources, we can see different levels of brightness, soft lights, brighter lights, and everything in between. But the one thing we cannot do is be the light in the world without Jesus. We are reflectors, reflecting his light wherever we go. The Himalayan salt light, to me, is a reminder of who we are to be in Jesus Christ, both salt and light. Salt of this earth, which is essential for life. Light of the world, reflecting Christ as the way in darkness and sin. The promoters of this particular kind of light claim that the light heating the salt causes the salt crystals to release ions. And these ions are binding with air pollutants. which fall to the ground so that the air is cleaner. I'm not sure about that. All I know is pretty. And I like it because it symbolizes Christ to me, salt and light together. And if we focus our lives on the one who calls us both salt and light, we're able to grow stronger in faith and in our relationship with Christ. And this is what we are called to do in this season after Epiphany. We have come to know who Christ is. Not just the baby that was born in the manger, but the Christ who taught and teaches, the Christ who loves and who tells us how to love, and the one who says, now it's up to you to reflect my light. So we are called to be open to receive Jesus as the light, the hope, the one who is known as Savior and Lord, the one who brings healing and hope for many. You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. Seek God's kingdom and know that you are the faithful followers of Christ, and that you are able to rejoice and praise his holy name with shouts of joy, with loud alleluias and with thanksgiving. You belong to Christ, and anyone who belongs to Christ is a new person. The old life is gone, and new life begins. So let us give thanks and praise to God, for we are a forgiven people. Thanks be to God. Amen.